Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to the Today's Restaurant News Networking Group, Chapter 2. We are a group of vendors to the food service industry who are here to help each other and to try and help restaurateurs, owners, managers, and chefs with any problems or concerns or questions that they may have. If you want to reach us to ask a question or join us in a future meeting, you can call us at 561-620-8888 or go to our website, trnusa.com. And today we have a returning face here, Curtis from Curtis, what's the name of your company? I know one name and you call it something else.
My initials KEE, Key Creative.
Okay. And Cheryl Robinson is calling in from Arizona. Welcome, Cheryl. Why don't you tell us what you do and how we can reach you? And by the way, after you do that, I'll follow up. I'll circle back so that you can add anything that you might forget.
Okay. So basically, we are a food distribution supplier we deal with C-stores, we deal with restaurants, we deal with a lot of the stadiums. We deal with basically some of the cloud kitchens, supplying food that has the pricing that needs to be put in place and has less labor in all the foods that we do. And we also go to the sites and train people as the food arrives. And so most of our food is distributed obviously through the core marks, the HT Hackneys, PFG, McLean. We are joining with US Foods and Cisco to get to the restaurants quicker. And you can reach me at Cheryl, CHERYL, Robinson, ROBINSON, at cloud-foodie.com. And it's basically it. I mean, most of it is supplying to the food industry. I mean, we cover all aspects. We have chefs that call us and we deal with people like Home Chef, which comes to your home. We deal with restaurants because our food is not what you see in normal convenience stores. It's higher grade food. You're going to see larger portions. It was made for the restaurant industry because I came from the franchising industry. So our portions are higher than you've got competitors such as Ree's. They have a 3-ounce empanada. We have a 4-ounce. We go down to 3. We actually go down to 1.2. But you're going to get a very high quality food in a C-store because C-stores are going to be our next revolution of restaurants.
Do you manufacture the food?
We have manufacturing co-packers. We have the recipes and the co-packers are doing it for us. We operate with 3 co-packers depending on what the product is. Empanadas are made over in New Jersey and Florida, and taquinos and pandabona bread and smaller empanadas are made in Florida. Then corn dogs are made in North Carolina, and hot chicken is made over on the West Coast, California.
Good.
Expensive. So, we're covering all grounds. We warehouse out of Illinois, and that's where if it's going to be a smaller quantity than truckloads, it's going to come out of Illinois.
Okay, great. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I forgot to mention, Jeffrey is also returning face on the board. Well, we'll call him 50-50 split with Brian.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You guys
How you
are-
guys doing? Jeff Krausick. I'm with Chill Max Beverage. We're the new entity of Canadian Beverage Supply out of Canada. We're a manufacturer and supplier of anything that dispenses long draw beer. I'm part of the US division. We opened up an office here in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a nice warehouse out there. We're gonna carry, several $1 million worth of inventory to distribute beer equipment, not just locally, but all throughout the US. And I think future plans may be they're gonna open up another warehouse out in another distribution center out on the West Coast somewhere, so. But it's a good company, just started with them. I retired from Coca-Cola and started here, and I'm loving it.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
And Curtis, welcome back.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Curtis Ivan with Key Creative. I help businesses elevate their brand through print and promotional products and branded apparel. And I've worked with a few restaurants doing t-shirts and hats and stuff. A lot of them resell their stuff, and sometimes they use it for their staff as well. I've done stadium cups and napkins and things like that. Worked with a few mobile bartenders that do a lot of these items as well. So I'm just trying to figure out which way to go within this group. Apparel or promotional products and stadium cups as well. Do a little bit of everything, but yeah, basically, I'm here to help get your name out there and stuff that you can give to your customers and clients, and keep your advertising, help it live on through things that you can actually put in their hands.
Okay, well, welcome back. Let's see, we have Steve doing a presentation today. I think let us do the intros and then we'll do your presentation, Steve, okay?
That works just fine.
All right, Rick, why don't you start us off on that, or continue us?
Good morning, everybody. Rick Israel with Affiliate Health Insurance, doing business as the Israel Agency. We are an independent insurance brokerage firm. We help individuals and we help companies where their employees are coming off their group health plan and entering into the Medicare space. And we help individuals find the right plan for their needs, not our needs. We also help individuals and businesses where they do not offer health insurance through their company, so we can offer assistance by putting them into a plan through the marketplace. That's pretty much it. We've been in business. Well, my dad started the business just about 20 years ago. I took over back in 2021. A nice thing is we just yesterday made the final, signed the final paperwork to expand into the great state of South Carolina. So now we are in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, soon to be Mississippi, and now South Carolina. So we're starting to expand and build a true agency where we have agents scattered throughout the Southeast to help build the brand. And I do apologize, but I will have to cut loose about 10 till 9 this morning because I do have an enrollment down in Florida on Zoom. So I wanted to make sure I was here to hear Steve's presentation. I really do enjoy it when we get an opportunity. So Rick Israel, and my information will be in the information that Howard will send out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Brian, good morning.
Morning. Hi. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm with the Rogue Financial Group. We're a commercial equipment financing company. Small projects, large projects, primarily on the hospitality side, which is restaurants, brewery, convenience stores. Been doing a lot lately in the food trailer industry. Been getting a lot of inquiries about that, but we also do other things like logistics, medical, yellow iron, which is construction equipment. And again, it's Brian with Rogue Financial Group. We are a commercial financing company, And it's 404-723-7222. Thanks.
I was talking to Cheryl during the week, telling her about the group, and I mentioned to her that there was somebody in the group that had some connections in what did I say?
The C-store world.
The C-store world, and she says, "Oh, is that Brian?" You know, go figure.
Yeah.
Terry, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Terry, today's restaurant news. I am in charge of the monthly leads reports, which I'm very proud of, getting more and more and more information every day. Honestly, you really would think at this point of time in the economy and in the world that the restaurants would be slowing up as far as coming into any state or starting up, but they are not. There is one right after the other. And I'll tell you, this morning I had a list from PR firms that more than I've had, and I can't even tell you how long, months, just one right after the other, new chains coming in, new, Steve, I may need to talk to you on this because I have a place looking for locations.
Okay.
All right, I will get you that information. And then I'll go through each one of the things here to let people know where it, qualifies. Also, those leads come out about the 9th of every month, and they are in an Excel spreadsheet. So you may sort them any way you want. Full information, emails, owners' names. There's a lot of equity companies involved in these, which are actually the owners as well. So that if I give you that number, it's going to have who that is after it. If it's corporate office, if it's the equity company, if it's the owner, email addresses. We try really hard to get a specific, sometimes that info at goes directly to the owner. So don't be discouraged by that. About the opening time frame, where they're at, is it planning stages, permitting stages, whatever. We try to give you all of that information. Team gathers everything to me and I get it out to you by the 9th. So if you'd like a sample, just let me know. Terry at Today's Restaurant News. And that's my email, by the way. Thanks.
Okay, Chris, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kaufman of CHRIS Kaufman and Company. Since Monday, April 6, 1981, specializing in placing aces in great places. We provide human capital to primarily restaurants, but we also work with clubs and hotels. We have a person interviewing in Virginia today, another person interviewing in Atlanta, and most of our work is Southeast United States. Andrew Carnegie said, "Take all my money, but tell you what, leave me all my people." Now, Andrew Carnegie, I believe, was America's first billionaire. And this quote is emphasizing the importance of people. Take all my money, but leave me all my people. And within 2 years, I'll have all my money back. That's the importance of people. And that is why Chris Kaufman and Company tries every day to do better than we did yesterday and providing human capital to clubs, hotels, restaurants, institutions, and sales. I could talk a lot longer, but I want to give more time to Steve. So.
And you know I can talk a lot.
Ed, I didn't forget you.
Hey,
Good
good
morning.
morning. Ed Gerton with Seacoast Sales in Orange Park, Florida. We're an equipment supply company that specializes in frozen dessert equipment, such as batch freezers, blast freezers, soft serve machines, mixed treat machines, slushing machines. We represent Carpigiani, BGI, ISA for display cases, and a couple of Spanish companies, all in the food and beverage business. And Terry, to correspond with what you just said, I am seeing a tremendous amount of activity right now, people asking questions about equipment. So that's indicative of just what you're saying, that there's a lot of restaurant work going on.
I have no idea. My gosh, so many.
A lot of that stuff I hear about before the restaurant is even going in. because they're trying to put together budgets and seeing what about financing. So it's amazing the amount of work. Now, it's more concentrated in the southeast than it is up north, because other people that I know up north, they're starting to struggle right now because people are
Of the
leaving the
cold.
northeast. Well, also taxes and restrictions up there
Yes,
causing people to
yeah.
move to the south.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's there. From Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida are going, Texas are going great guns right now in compared to other places in the country. So it's
And-
just interesting what's going on.
It is.
And
I'm glad somebody
Edward-
can verify that.
Well, This
Edward
is-
Gurton with Seco Sales, my
I-
number 904-334-4489. Thank you.
yeah, we've spoken about how the economy is changing down here based upon the people from the Northeast who are coming south. Sometimes their final destination is Florida, but they end up in North or South Carolina or Tennessee on the way down. It's
Are you
literally.
here? Okay, all right, bye. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can attest to that because I own another company that finances for fat brands. So, you got 17 brands and Andy Wiederhorn trying to expand within all his franchisees. And they right now are mostly in the South, and fat brands used to be predominantly in the West Coast. I still finance. There's a company that approached me, and anybody dealing with equipment, dealing with locations, whatever, it's a dirty dough. They've sold 235 licenses within the year. It's a takeoff of Crumble Cookie. So, I mean, there's a lot of building. There's record numbers coming out of us in the banking industry through SBA. And it's all based on how much, I mean, people are building Twin Peaks. You wouldn't know that the economy is in a bad situation. I mean, some of these restaurants, I mean, we're building 10 restaurants for fat burgers. Over in Florida, they're all drive-throughs. Equipment alone is $300,000 each location. The whole, signage and everything, it's $1.3 million per location. They're all drive-throughs. And that's the way they're building everything.
Well, this
Cheryl,
is a perfect. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Cheryl, you mentioned that, all the building going on and you would think the economy wasn't kind of in a decline. What I'm seeing is a lot of these businesses are getting tax breaks.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have to pay taxes on the property. They're building Publixes up here in Alabama, especially in the Huntsville area, the Birmingham area, where they're trying to revitalize the neighborhoods, kind of get out the old and bring in the new. And they're offering these big corporations, these huge 10, 15, 20-year tax breaks. So it's nothing but 100% profit for the company. So they're banking that money, and that's how they're able to build more and more stores in these urban guerrilla type areas. And I'm sure restaurants are the same way because they're trying to revitalize some of these older neighborhoods.
They're doing that up in Michigan. I finance the big boys, remember the guy with the red and white checkered outfit?
Yeah.
They're actually starting to franchise again, and they're actually starting to build. And I told them, since COVID, I was like, you need to bring the footprint down, go from 5,000 square feet down to 1,600. You're going to get the same volume of sales, but the bank's going to like you better because we don't like sit down restaurants like Denny's, IHOP, stuff like that. So it is, and they're adding any and everything that can be put in to make money. It's a totally different world when you look at basically what I call the bill of materials when you're financing. There's so much more equipment now. Since COVID, I can tell you that to build a Fat Burgers, we've raised it maybe $125,000. Now, we know equipment's gone up in pricing, but that's not all pricing. They're adding in so many different brands under one hood or one roof that that's how they're creating so much money. And that's how the owner of Fat Brands is doing it, because, you know, he bought over $1 billion worth of brands during COVID. So he has to pay that money back to the stock, you know, holders. So he has to create royalties. So that's basically how he's doing it, is putting so many brands inside of one roof. And it's a smart move, because he's, you know, he had me speak at a forum. And that's how they,
Hold
do
on
it.
a second. Oh,
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Houston, we have a problem.
hey, Cheryl,
Well,
Big Boys, isn't that part of Frisch's?
Frisch's is separate. When Big Boys filed bankruptcy in 2018,
Okay,
Frisch's took one side and Mustafa owns the other side. So Mustafa owns everything in Michigan and the one sitting all by itself in California,
okay.
which I don't even know how they service food. I drove by it when I went to California the last month, and the weeds are so high, but it's still open.
Okay.
So, but no, and he's expanding. They're building 3 more in Michigan, but he's saying he wants to get into different states now. So, yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't Big Boys part of Shoney's? I thought it was Shoney's Big Boy.
No,
Yeah.
It's 2 different companies? Okay.
yeah, because when they filed bankruptcy, he got him out of bankruptcy in like 2 years. I was so amazed, and they were in it for a lot of money. It was a huge bankruptcy. And he's Egyptian, and I think he brought over a lot of money, because I was doing a lot of financing for him personally back then. So,
Hey, Chris,
Yes, Brian.
wasn't Shoney's Ray Shunnabaum?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Well, there is talk that they're trying to make a comeback.
Well-
Shoney's,
Yeah,
I don't know, they had a good product if I remember right.
they had a great breakfast bar. I mean, you couldn't get in during breakfast, but after breakfast, it just kind of the parking lot was empty. It's kind of like what Hardee's is now. Hardee's has a great breakfast, but their lunch menu is horrible and they don't do any business. But they were talking about bringing 2 or 3 locations back here to Huntsville, but just never came to fruition.
Well, there is still a Shoney's in Vidalia, Georgia, on the main drag, and it does real well. It's a former Shoney's executive who's the operating partner. Guy does a great job.
I remember the buildings, I just don't remember the brand that well. And it could be just because it's not out here.
Yeah.
well, good. I think this topic is a perfect segue into Steve's presentation today. Steve is the president of Anchor Business Brokers, and his topic today was going to be how to prepare your business for sale. Is that correct?
Well, essentially, it's when is the right time to sell
Right, okay.
and how to go about it. If you're ready, I'm ready.
We're ready. Thank you.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Whitehill, and today's presentation is really about when is the right time to sell your business. Oopsie. There we are. And, you know, I like to think of what I do is helping you live the life you want, whether it's the acquisition process, and you're going to make you're starting a new career or expanding on one, or it's time to retire and you're essentially turning a illiquid asset into cash. So when is the right time to sell your business? And, you know, euphemistically, it's really before you start, which is to say that you really need to plan your thing. And it is always certainly before you're ready, and I'll show you how that works. First, I want to show you something I got a year or 2 ago. This was, if any of you from the Northeast, Long Island, there was a newspaper called Newsday on Long Island, and they republished the November 27, 1963 Thanksgiving Day supplement, sort of, this was before anybody knew what Black Friday was. Certainly the merchants always advertised about Black Friday, and this is the cover page to that insert. And I'm sorry the pictures aren't clearer, but this is a typical ad from that period. It was from one of the large department stores. And then, of course, what's most interesting is, for me personally, my father owned a chain of clothing stores. It was called Andrews, or Andrews and Sons. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table, going over this ad and discussing it. Now, my father treated me as if I had if my input was actually valuable. I'm not sure it was, but it was obviously it was memorable that he consulted with me, so to speak. What's interesting about this, and the reason I show it, is this is over, it's actually exactly 50 years ago now. Am I doing that right? 60 years ago. And none of these stores, including my dad's chain, are still in existence. So there are very few businesses that last over the long haul. Really, very, very few. I'm not totally sure why. I suspect some reasons, like they don't keep up with the times, they don't change, or the technology comes out from under them. Typically, that's true with a technologically based business. Someone comes up with a newer and better thing that they hadn't thought about. You can see with OpenAI, it's very likely that that's going to supplant Google, and Google may or may not be able to catch up. But we'll see. That's just as an aside. So just as you need to develop a business plan to secure and to success your business, you also need to really have an exit plan. And here's why. This goes back obviously several years. I was selling a client of mine was interested in an upholstery business, or a reupholstery business. And he looked at, I showed him this one. And when I first showed it to him, we were obviously in early 2019, and really, we were in 2018. And the year hadn't been done because we still had projections for 2018. And I only got 3 years initially tax returns, or profit and loss statements. So I really got originally 2016, 17, and 18, which was projected out for the whole year. And what you see in those 3 years is a consistent decline. So we wanted to see what is the problem. So we looked at, I said, like, give me 2015, let me see what's going on. Is it really that consistent? And when we projected everything out, yeah, it was. Now, what's the reason? The reason is that the owners, this was 3 brothers, started to retire way early. So of the 3 brothers that founded the business, only one was still operating it. And he was really, first of all, he couldn't do all the work himself. And secondly, he wasn't working as hard as he could have been. So what happens is you get a decline because they're sort of retiring in advance of them really retiring, and you can see the effect. And the problem with buying this business is, do you really believe that it's a good business and that you can restore it to where it was? Or is it really a business that's faltering? And it's really hard to tell. You're never going to get the kind of money you want out of a business like this. So what are the most important things you can do when you're getting a business ready to sell? And the first thing is ensure your decisions remains confidential. You really don't want to tell the world that you're closing up, because that has frequently a negative impact. People, you say to a person casually, I'm going to retire in a year or two, and they start looking for a replacement because they don't know who's going to take over the business or the business will remain. So they look for somebody else to fulfill that role. And as the prior slide showed you, you really want to maximize your profitability. Instead of really taking it easy and relaxing, you really want to move it ahead, because that's going to give you the greatest, possible value for your business. In any case, anytime you want to sell a business, people are going to look at your books and records. So you want to make sure that your books and records are up to date and in good shape, so when people can analyze them and see that the numbers that you're giving them are correct and this thing makes sense. And if you think about it, if you, as a buyer, if you go into a so to speak, a messy store that doesn't give you the same feeling as if you go into a store that's well organized and well run. And this you should do no matter what, and that's define your brand, who you are, what you do. You should have a consistent theme and then the other thing you want to do is people, when they buy a business, they buy a stream of income, and to make that income, they look at the physical plant sometimes, because that's sometimes critical, and they look at employees. The question I get more often, I especially get this from foreign nationals who buy businesses, is how do I know that people are going to want to stay? Now, it's a reality. Most people do want to stay. People don't like change. And so unless something that comes across that upsets the apple cart, so to speak, they're going to stay. But you really want to make sure that you have good employees, or essentially the key employees are good and will stay around. Nextly, when you think about it, you have to go through a transition process. And if a buyer sees that you have good processes in place and they're well documented, that's an important plus. It's actually one of the reasons people like to buy franchises, is because they have developed a pattern and there's a process in place that they know and is replicatable, and so people look at that. And the same thing doesn't have to be a franchise, but if you have procedures and methods in place, especially if they're documented, that's a big plus. And you need to address existing and potential liabilities of any kind. So are there any problems that you're going to have? Are there any problems the new owner will take on? And you need to be able to explain them away, because he's going to ask questions, or he or she is going to ask questions about them. And make your location sparkle. I guess that's really to say, listen, if it looks good, it's better. People like, nice and shiny. I mean, who doesn't? We don't like to go into things that are messy and ugly and dirty and so on. So if you make it inviting, you will have a better outcome. And then you want to make sure you have you create customer profiles, compile sales data. This is also a new owner or a potential buyer can see what's going on, so he can understand the business easily. And of course, this goes without saying, assemble a good team. A good team, that's what keeps a business running. And I think, Cheryl, you're the one that said that, or is it Chris? One of you guys said it, I know. It's a good team will go a long way in a buyer finding the business really something they want to buy. And on that note, good referral sources for me are owners, of course, before they're ready to sell, and you saw why. Attorneys, especially immigration attorneys, financial planners, accountants and CPAs, and executive recruiters, because as Chris knows, sometimes you can't place an individual. They may be okay, but they're just, they just, for whatever reason, not desirable. Sometimes it is age, sometimes not. But some of these people have some amount of money, and they can essentially buy a business and buy themselves a career. And someone like Cheryl can finance it, and you don't need a lot of money to do that these days. And this is how you get a hold of me. Either call me or you can get a hold of me through my email. And I want to thank everybody for listening to my spiel. Any questions?
I have one.
Oh, okay, cool.
So when I talk to these people, obviously, because I was in the franchise world, obviously franchisees are selling their business. Are you someone that can do that, can prepare them for that?
Sure, I sell franchises and non-franchises. Um, Normally, we sell more non-franchises, but I don't care. I sold a franchise maid service business about 4 months ago, so it really has no impact to me. I don't care which. Um,
They're
franchise.
doing well. I have 5 locations. They're various different people. I mean, it's what you all were talking about earlier. Their locations are in New Jersey. They're moving to Florida. They want to get rid of them. And they have to pay off SBA to sell their house because their liens on the house. So everything is intertwined. And they're like, Cheryl, can you just get this place sold? I'm like, send me your books and I'll find somebody for you. And matter of fact, I have a call at 11 o'clock with this guy. So I wrote down how to get a hold of you. So I will do that. I'll probably just refer people to you because I try and stay out of what's not my lane. Because if I don't know something, I don't want to be telling them something crazy. So that's as long as you can sell like franchises, I've got plenty of people trying to move and some that just want to get out.
No, I mean, there's many reasons why people sell. Usually the most common one is retirement, followed by the phrase, I've just had enough. They're ready to do something else, or they just can't deal with the environment. And I understand that. You get it happens more often than you think.
Right.
So it doesn't make it a bad business or anything. It means that the set of problems associated with the business, they're unwilling to deal with. As a matter of fact, I like to say, people ask me, what's a good business? I say any business whose problems you're willing to deal with, because there's no such thing as a business without problems. It's just a set of, the good ones are in sort of the eye of the beholder. They are the businesses whose problems that you don't see as problems or as tasks that you're willing to take on.
Yeah, because I just call it operator problems.
Yeah, well, that's what they are.
Yes.
No one promised you a rose garden, as they say.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other
Anybody else have any questions for Steve?
Geographically, Steve, where do you work?
I mainly concentrate in Florida and really the southern half. I will take on occasionally things outside my area. I prefer in essentially draw a line through Orlando, east, west, and anything south of that. I tend to be a very hands-on salesperson, so I like to be able to take clients to those locations. And it's not that I can't do it in New York or New Jersey, it's just that I can't take a client there. So it's a different kind of sale, which if the seller is happy for me to deal with them on that basis, I can handle that.
Okay, well, thank you, Steve, for a very informative presentation, as always. And thank you all for participating. So I want to double back to Jeff and to Curtis and to Cheryl. If there's anything you want to add to your intros, let's start with Jeff.
I think I covered everything. If anybody wants to reach me, you get my information off of the email that goes out. My phone number is 256-506-4677. That's it.
Okay, Cheryl, you want to add anything to your company information?
I mean, I can give you my phone number.
Please.
It's 623-418-4041.
Okay, and Curtis.
So my company name is Key Creative. My website is also allforpromos.com. Like I said, I do everything marketing and help businesses create awareness through promotional products. So I'm all for promos.
You know, Steve was talking about one of the elements to preparing your business was branding. And Keith, you help companies do that in a lot of different ways. You want to say anything about that?
Absolutely. Like you said, I mean, there's a lot of ways to market your business, and everything I do is, you know, things you can touch and feel, whether it's apparel or displays and all your branded products that you have in front of your clients and stuff. You know, it helps people feel appreciated, and everyone likes to receive something back to them as well. So it's a great way to reach people and touch people.
Okay, you know, it seems to be that pens are a big tool now being used by the banks. They're giving away pens always, and doctor's offices. And I picked up a pen the other day, and I said to myself, when I go back to this place, I'm going to try and grab another one, because really. And the owner of the company said, "Where'd my pen go?" No.
No, pens are great. That's the thing about a pen. It has to be one you really like to use and love. So, I mean, it can't be the cheapest products. It has to be a good pen that writes well, a pen that you like to use often. Put your name on that, and people are going to come back for more and steal them. So.
Yeah, every time I use a Mont Blanc, I try to put it in my pocket. Let's try to keep it.
Hey guys, I got to run. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week.
Okay,
Okay, Rick.
thanks.
Bye-bye,
Chris, nice meeting you guys, and Brian.
Wait,
Thank
don't go anywhere yet.
I
We're not over yet. I mean, Rick is leaving, I know. But I was reading something online yesterday, and we've spoken about trends and information and going forward in 2023. But the National Restaurant Association came out with their top 10 trends for 2023. So I'm going to do my David Letterman bit, the top 10 list. So the top trends for 2023 are local experiences, culture, and community, which basically is saying keeping things local. You know, we said that months and months ago during the pandemic, when gas prices were coming out of the pandemic, when prices went up in 2020. People were staying close to home, so they didn't have to drive. So that's going to be continuing in 23. A food trend, number 2, fried chicken sandwiches and spicy and sweet heat fusion flavors on chicken. Cheryl may be able to speak to that.
That's a fad. It's all the hot chicken out there. No, everybody has it.
Yeah. You got to be the first.
I know.
Always have to be the first. Number 3, I pronounced this right. Charcuterie boards. I don't know. I don't like maple or
I
oak.
don't get how they're booming their franchise too. I just don't get it.
I don't either. I think that's more for home use. This is put together by the NRA, and this is a bunch of people sitting around a room saying, let's come up with a top 10. Comfort fare. I don't know what that means, honestly. I guess it means comfort food.
It's probably like a meat and two or something like that kind of. Like...
Sounds like mac and cheese to me. Flatbread sandwiches or healthier wraps. Yeah, I see a lot of restaurant chains using flatbreads now. Menu streamlining. Well, we talked about that many times. because of price and availability. Now, I know I'm not going to pronounce this right. Excuse me 1 second. Number 7, Sriracha variations, Sriracha.
Gotcha.
Sriracha.
What is that?
It's a
Hot,
spicy red
Spicy.
sauce.
hot.
It's Mexican.
Okay. Number 8, globally inspired salads. I don't know.
Okay.
Globally inspired.
Throw some of that sriracha. Well, yeah. Number
I thought
9.
the first one was local. One of the first
Yeah,
ones had
right,
to be
exactly.
local, now you're saying global, okay.
Yeah. This is what happens when you put too many people in position of power together. Something like Washington.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 9, zero waste, sustainability, upcycled foods. Sorry. And number 10, Southeast Asian cuisine, Vietnamese, Singaporean, and Philippine. Well, that's been going on for a while
Yeah.
with the poke bowls and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't even think poke places are doing that well. What's selling really well right now is ramen noodles.
Yeah, that's big. That's really big.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Everybody's coming out with them. I've never eaten ramen noodles and I don't ever anticipate to. But yeah,
Ramen noodles reminds me of when I was in college.
right.
Cheap.
Yeah, they're
A
the
friend-
ones that you paid $1 some, like $1 for, or maybe less. Yeah.
A friend of mine just told me yesterday that he's leaving in a couple of weeks to go on a trip, a 3-week trip, a week in Cambodia, a week in Thailand, and a week in Vietnam.
Who did he piss off?
I said, in the 60s, I fought to stay out of those countries. Anyway, I apologize for being off. We just got some other news
Yeah.
associated with what I told you before that I don't even want to discuss. But thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. We will see you again next week. If anybody wants to make a presentation, please let me know. We'd be happy to schedule you.
Yeah.
And Cheryl, we're glad to have you back.
Yeah.
At the next meeting. And I'm going to take it off of recording and I'll stick around for a bit.